nation was losing as a result of the cooking oil smuggling through the Togo and Cote d'Ivoire borders with the connivance of customs officials. The nation was losing money because these importers and dealers were either not declaring, and paying the required taxes when bringing these goods. And when you have to deal with these smugglers, you have to purchase not less than 2,000 gallons of cooking oil, which was around at the time.
How much?
Investigation.
How much?
So, 2,000 gallons. If I approach them and say you want gallons, if you really want them to bring oil from Cote d'Ivoire or Togo for you, you have to purchase a minimum of 2,000 gallons. And this was around 800,000 cedis at the time of the investigation.
Right, okay. Interesting. So how were they doing it? What was their MO?
Kojo, I was able to track where they buy this cooking oil from Togo. So they buy it in large quantities, but when they get to the border, they have their men stationed at the customs checkpoint. They look around. Then during the thick of the night, they have the officers that they work with, and then their trucks get past these customs checkpoints. And they tell me that at each customs checkpoint, they pay, several amounts, sometimes 10,000 cedis, 5,000 cedis. And one of the smugglers actually told me he has to spend at least 65,000 cedis in moving a consignment from Togo to Tamale.
Wow. Well, I can't wait to find out what you unraveled, went undercover. Let's do that now. Let's hear Smugglers' Paradise.
Thousands of gallons of vegetable cooking oil are smuggled every day into Ghana through the Cote d'Ivoire and the Togo borders.
When one enter, take your time.
Okay.
Second one enter, take your time.
Okay.
Third one enter, take your time.
Okay.
You don't have that problem. That's why I want to handle it to him.
Oh, okay.
Because they are on the way, the custom, they are doing everything.
The state is losing millions of cedis in revenue due to the non-declaration and evasion of taxes by these importers and traders.
The way to outwit custom officials at the checkpoint on the road from Sampa to Kumasi is to use trucks that are conveying bags of charcoal.
Top officials of customs as well as junior rank officers at various checkpoints are complicit.
Out of that,
I pay a bribe ranging between 5,000 and 10,000 cedis to customs boss in Tamale for him to engage his Kumasi counterparts for safe access for my goods.
The smugglers evade tax, connive with customs officials, and outwit security officials, making it difficult for local players to compete. These smuggled cooking oil products are now found in community markets in the Ashanti, Bono East, Ahafo, Volta, and northern regions. It is $1 million business with a complicated network of individuals and bankrollers who profit from these deals. Who are these smugglers and how deep is the network of intricate connections that makes the business thrive? In this edition of Hotline documentary, I will be going undercover on a rather dangerous mission to expose the smugglers, officials of customs, importers and traders, as well as transporters, getting these cheap smuggled cooking oil onto the Ghanaian market. It's a busy market day in Tamale. The markets are flooded with cheap cooking oil smuggled from neighboring Togo. The dominant brands which have been sneaked into the country are palm door, dino, k-door, tradike, tilmesi, and aya. The rest are jomil, sano, Acquah, and eagles. At the time of this investigation, the smuggled oil products were selling at 410 Ghana cedis in Tamale, while the locally manufactured ones were priced at 475 Ghana cedis. These cooking oils are moved into warehouses in the thick of the night by a smuggling cartel in Tamale. One of the kingpins is Muhammad Hamza. He hails from Boko. He operates under the company name Command Daf Enterprise. He controls a large share of the market in Tamale. The cartels in the oil business operate in an underworld of their own and trust no one. I needed a cover story that will enable me penetrate these kingpins running a multi-billion city smuggling chain. I told Hamza I desperately needed thousands of gallons of smuggled oil to break even in the local market in Kumasi.
Commander, I greet you. I hope you are doing well. I'm doing well. I'm also doing fine. This is our business. I know.
He agrees to sell a gallon of oil at 430 Ghana cedis. He deals with individuals who are buying more than 2,000 gallons of smuggled cooking oil. This will bring the figure of our transaction to over 800,000 Ghana cedis. He has established relationships with big dealers in Kumasi and Acquah. Hamza tells me he relies on the customs boss in Tamale to ensure safe passage of his smuggled cooking oil to parts of the country. He spends between 5,000 to 10,000 Ghana cedis to get the customs boss in Tamale and his counterpart in Kumasi to facilitate the movement of each consignment of smuggled oil. For my consignment of 2,000 gallons of oil to Kumasi, he would pay at least 15,000 Ghana cedis in bribe to customs and police officers on the route.
The one that is going to arrest him, I will inform you.
I will let you know how much the person who eventually arrests you demand in bribe. Chairman and Co. pass through Yendi. That's why their oil is dirty. I'll use the highway. The customs will take 33,000 cedis. Out of this amount, I'll pay a duty of, let's say, 15,000 cedis. So that when the police stops the vehicle, there should be some paperwork covering the goods. I'll have to pay either 5,000 cedis or 10,000 Ghana cedis.
They should be able to provide the paper. Okay. Out of that, before this boss will connect with that boss, you have to pay 5,000 or 10,000.
He walks me through how he's able to smuggle oil from Sankase in Togo to Tamale.
From Widani to Pualugu, I will pay 10,000 cedis. From there to Pusiga, I would pay 1,500 cedis. On food and transportation, I will spend, say, 1,500 Ghana cedis. Loading of it will cost 7,000 cedis. The first customs checkpoint, I would have to pay 1,500 cedis. Zwarungu, I would have to pay 1,500 cedis. Bogatanga, I would have to pay 1,500 cedis. At Savalugu, I would have to pay 30,000 cedis. So, 65,000 cedis is going to customs officials.
Hamza has been in the business for years now. He took over from his father. When he encounters challenges with the authorities, he falls on his godfather of the smuggling business to bail him out. One of those days, in my second encounter with him at his office, there were 6 trucks transporting cooking oil from Togo. He tells me custom officials are demanding 30,000 Ghana cedis bribe on each truck. Hamza is not the only one engaged in this business. Abdulaziz is in his early 30s. He works with another Alhaji Zakaria in Tamale. I first met him at the Ghana-Togo border, a few meters away from the customs checkpoint. He will later reveal he was on a stage operation to smuggle cooking oil from Sankase to Bolgatanga.
You know, this work is a smuggler work. You don't just want to sit one day, just see all of them in front of you.
Okay.
When one enter, take your time.
Okay.
Second one enter, take your time.
Okay.
Third one enter, take your time.
Okay.
So that's how it's.
Okay.
The one that came yesterday, did you know that I was sitting there, but no one knows that I want to bring this. I was sitting, chatting. But here, I came here in the night. I was here in the night. I came here in the night.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm still running.
Okay.
No one knows what I'm doing.
Sorry.
No one knows what I'm doing and my running. It's a secret work and...
He said if I should contract him to move my consignment of cooking oil from Togo, he would charge a lesser amount of 415 cedis compared to the price Hamza was offering. There's a route which runs through Bumprugu to Walewale, and that is what he uses to transport cooking oil from Togo to Tamale if he does not want to pay the required taxes to the state.
He's giving 413 in Tamale, and I'm giving 415 down. You just take in Tamale and continue your journey.
Yeah, so I want to find out how we're going to deal with the custom, how we're going to deal with duties.
From where?
From Sankase. Let's say it's coming from Sankase to town. How are we going to deal with that? Because it's a lot of money that we are putting in.
They are not passing through here.
Okay. You use where?
There's a road passing to cross Walewale. There's a road passing.
But how about duty? How do you...
The duty is, the cargo is handled. You don't have problem, you don't have duty problem.
Aziz does not work alone to cheat the system. He says there are custom officials he bribes to assist him evade tax on the cooking oil he smuggles from Togo.
You know the road, some people are there, the road they are passing.
Yeah.
Like when I get to the custom office, they see me doing this. He know the business already.
Okay.
We know the deal that we are doing already. It's not like but you are the person, you come and ask how much am I paying this, you know that this is a stranger.
Yeah.
He has gotten you to.
Yeah.
So but you know, if I just got there, he knows the deal already and I know how much he's supposed to take.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Okay.
So you don't have anything. If it is from Ghana,
he said another way to outsmart the customs is to stock 40-footer containers with the smuggled oil, or better still, rely on VIP buses to get your oil to any part of the country.
Like the VIP buses.
Yeah.
That one you are safe.
Okay.
VIP bus you are safe.
Okay.
But this thing goes. VIP.
The oil is brought in by collectors. Sadiki Mustafa is one of such collectors. He is responsible for transporting the millions of gallons of smuggled oil from Togo to many parts of the country. He shows me a receipt bearing the sum of 300,000 Ghana cedis for payment of oil he recently smuggled from neighboring Togo. They have an established network in Tamale. They deal in oil and sugar. Sadiki said he will sell a gallon of oil at 400 cedis to me. Even among the smugglers, there's competition to control the turf. Like Tamale, the border town of Sampa in the Bono region has another network of smugglers. They are mainly middle-aged women. Do not be mistaken, they call the shots in how oil and which quantity must be smuggled from neighboring Côte d'Ivoire to Signane and the Kumasi markets. One of them is Mamavi. She is easily identified at Sampa as Alaji's wife. As at the time of this investigation, she was willing to sell the smuggled oil to the investigative team at 370 cedis when Hamza's price was hovering around 430 Ghana cedis. She said the cooking oil has become scarce, so like many smugglers and traders, they have to leave huge amounts with dealers in Côte d'Ivoire.
I bought 600 gallons of cooking oil yesterday and I've sold all. The local oil market is witnessing a downturn. Ivorian traders used to import oil from Ghana, but now traders here are chasing them to buy their oil. I've paid huge sums of money to dealers in Côte d'Ivoire to buy their oil.
She said it's become difficult for many smugglers to bring in large quantities of oil because some custom officials are not supportive. She revealed that top custom officials at Sampa and other checkpoints have told her the government is pressuring them to crack down on the operations of smugglers because it is affecting local business companies which produce cooking oil.
Some customs officials came to my stall and leaked that the government is asking them to crack down on local dealers and importers because of smuggled oil. They said it's affecting the local oil industry. This explains why smuggled oil has become so expensive in the country.
But she works with some custom officials who support a smuggling business. She said these custom officials forge how much tax is supposed to be paid on the oil she brings into the country. Citing a recent example, she said she only paid 2,000 Ghana cedis for over 400 smuggled oil she brought in to the Sampa Côte d'Ivoire border. She paid 30 cedis on a gallon instead of 65 Ghana cedis.
If you have a working relationship with customs officials, you can fall on them to compromise the system in your favor. If you decide to pay tax on the 500 gallons of oil you intend to buy, it will drain your income. I bought 400 gallons of oil recently and I paid only 2,000 cedis. The customs official underdeclared on the document prepared for me. I paid 30 cedis for a gallon instead of 60 cedis.
2,000.
Okay. She further walks me into a trade secret on how to outwit custom officials when transporting the smuggled oil. She said vehicles conveying charcoal from Sampa hide the gallons within the sacks of charcoal. She also references the use of VIP buses in aiding their business of smuggling. It comes at a cheaper cost compared to paying the right taxes to the state.
The way to outwit custom officials at the checkpoint on the road from Sampa to Kumasi is to use trucks that are conveying bags of charcoal and embed your oil in it. You will lose if you decide to pay the right tax. We also use VIP buses to hoard and transport the smuggled oil.
Drivers who ply Sampa to trading communities in Ivory Coast play a significant role in this business of smuggling oil brands such as Dinner to the Ghanaian market. One of such drivers is Ibi. He charges at least 10 Ghana cedis on each gallon he brings to Sampa.
It would buy 1 gallon of charges 10 cedi.
I will charge 10 cedi for a gallon of oil I smuggle into the country from Côte d'Ivoire. My vehicle is able to transport 80 gallons of oil. I'll bribe the customs officials to move the consignment to Sampa.
I approached this driver at the VIP bar station at Sampa. He revealed he is complicit in the transportation of these oils when I expressed my interest in getting the oil I bought to Sunyani. He said he would charge 15 Ghana cedis on each gallon because of the bribes he has to pay to custom officials and the police when transporting the goods.
If we charge you 15 cedis for a gallon and ask you to take over with the payment of bribes to customs and police officers, you run at a loss. I will charge a gallon for 20 cedis. These monies are what we are using in paying bribes to custom officials and police we meet at the checkpoints. There are checkpoints where they demand between 500 cedis to 1,000 cedis.
Now, many checkpoints between Sampa and Sunyani. One of them is the Sumwa checkpoint. I decided to test claims of complicity of custom officials in the smuggling of cooking oil to parts of the country. I meet Lillian Abrefi and her superior at the checkpoint. They are willing to prepare forged duty papers to enable the team move our oil from Sampa past their checkpoint.
If you had duty papers covering the gallons of smuggled oil you purchased, the expectation is that you will pay a minimum amount of bribe when the vehicle gets here. Where you're transporting the oil to is quite far. We would have left you off the hook if you were transporting the oil to Drubo, but custom officials at BBNE might arrest you. The way out is to use photocopies of duty papers from the shop where you bought the oil, and this will cover the consignment. Oil and rice are considered cocaine here. If you have the right papers, you still have to pay some amount of bribe. You should have budgeted for miscellaneous and use that to pay bribes to police and customs officials.
They suggested strategies the team could use to outsmart other checkpoints to get my smuggled oil to the final destination. One of the many ways is to use the duty papers of one of the big shots in the smuggling business in Sampa. Lillian calls Mrs. Naomi, as she is referred by dealers and importers in this business.
VIP bus and the VIP bus in my bema because VIP then you call no almost say almost I am.
VIP buses are the best means of transporting smuggled oil from Sampa. The commercial vehicle drivers are poor at communicating when they get to the checkpoint. I recall a dealer whose consignment was seized when they got to BBNE checkpoint. We let her off the hook when she got here.
It is time to test how deep the skanker is. The investigative team bought 90 gallons of cooking oil smuggled from Côte d'Ivoire from Menu Ya Gladys's shop in the Sampa market. Ya Gladys's husband is a driver. He knows how to deal with the officers at the customs checkpoint along the way from Sampa to Sunyani.
You will pay 60 cedis on a gallon of oil. My husband will aid you to transport it.
The next morning, the gallons of cooking oil had arrived at the Sunyani market. Ya Gladys and her team had successfully transported the smuggled oil from Sampa. The driver admits, however, that it was not easy because he had to pay bribes to customs and police officers.
I had to pay bribes to police and customs officials who apprehended me while transporting the oil.
Ya Gladys and her team helped us to evade tax. The investigative team spent at least 38,000 cedis on this transaction. If we were to factor in the costs spent on the smuggling of oil as traders, we'll sell a gallon at 420 cedis. The current market price of smuggled cooking oil on the Sunyani market ranges between 415 Ghana cedis and 430 Ghana cedis. The decision to smuggle oil from Sampa to Sunyani gives our product a competitive edge over the locally manufactured oil, which at the time of the investigation sold at 475 Ghana cedis, a stark difference of 45 Ghana cedis. Many of the retailers of smuggled oil get their oil through this means. That's how they cheat the state of its badly needed revenue. The ability to outwit custom officers is the reason for the difference in the price margins of smuggled oil on the market.
More palm door. I did search oil. Oil. Where? Yeah. No, this one.
This one 430, 198.
This one be. I said the 25 kg one. This one be 25.
That one is
400 and how much?
430. The small one 198.
In Tamale, in the northern region, the dealers require that we buy 2,000 gallons. That's the only quantity that makes economic sense to smuggle oil from Togo and transport to Kumasi. The dealers were sure of beating the system and getting goods to our destination of choice because they could bribe custom officials. Same was the case from Côte d'Ivoire to Sunyani in the Bono region, where the team successfully transported gallons of smuggled oil through customs manned checkpoints. This is a major revenue leakage to the state and a nail in the operations of the local manufacturers of cooking oil.
There you have it, $1 billion smuggling business involving a cartel with mastery in bribery and customs officials who are influenced, deeply complicit. All these happening at a time when government is battling with revenue shortfalls. When we return, Mr. Ernest Apiabuache, Chief Revenue Officer, Preventive Unit, TEMA, and Benjamin Bekai, Senior Revenue Officer, Commander of Customs Counter-Terrorism Units, joining us live in the studio for a conversation. Stay with us.
Morning Show. Image Brew and April Communications, in partnership with the National Theatre, presents.
Stanley, look, all hell will be let loose if now we're to see anything in the newspapers about me and Mary and living in Labone.
But why?
Because I live with National in his cantonments.
No, son, you live with Mary in Labone.
That too.
Hey, you've got 2 homes.
Yes.
One here with Mary.
Yes.
And one with your girlfriend in East Cantonment.
Yes, only National is not my girlfriend.
What is she? A German Shepherd.
She's my wife.
Run for your wife. Live at the National Theatre, Saturday 1st and Sunday 2nd October, 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. each day. Tickets are now selling for 100 Ghana cedis at Bachona Total, Koala, Frankie's, Tema Community 11 Shell, Nalem Store, X-Men, East Legon, or go to www.imagebureaugh.com or dial *365*2020 hash.
So you've got 2 wives?
Yes.
And 2 homes?
Yes.
I can't believe it.
Me myself, sometimes I'm surprised.
Prepare for the most hilarious comedy of your life.
Hello, my name is Mami Acquah, an entrepreneur and a mother of 2. My work keeps me busy most of the time, and sometimes it takes me away from my family. But the safety and health of my family is very important to me. As a working mother, I cannot afford to take any chances when it comes to matters of health. That is why I signed up for a family health care plan from Equity Health Insurance. My family and I have access to over 700 hospitals, clinics, opticians, dentists, pharmacies, and diagnostic centers across the length and breadth of Ghana. With Equity Health Insurance, I no longer have to worry about medical bills. Anytime a member of my family visits a hospital, Equity Health Insurance has got my family and I covered. What about you? Who has got you covered?
Call Equity Health Insurance on 050-660-7910 and talk to them about your family health needs now. Visit equityhealthinsurance.com for more information. Equity Health Insurance, here for you.
Melcom Best Buy is on. Though we are still in tough times, Melcom says we're there for you. Save big at Melcom when you best buy your groceries, electronics, furniture, and all your daily need items at the lowest prices. Melcom, your one-stop supermarket for all your daily needs. Terms and conditions apply. Melcom, where Ghana truly saves. Melcom, where Ghana shops.
The National Petroleum Authority, in collaboration with the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors and under the auspices of the Ministry of Energy and African Refiners and Distributors Association, is organizing the Ghana International Petroleum Conference, GIPCON 2022, live at the Kempinski Hotel, Gold Coast Security, Accra, from the 28th to the 30th September 2022. This year's conference is under the theme Energy Transition in the African Petroleum Downstream Context, Prospects, Challenges, and the Way Forward. The special guest of honor for the event is His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, with Honorable Minister for Energy, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, also delivering an address. The conference is designed to actively bring to the fore the downstream petroleum industry's perspective and guidance on issues of governmental policy and regulatory framework. GIPCON 2022 will witness a convergence of regulators and downstream industry stakeholders from across the West African sub-region and beyond. It is a unique occasion to connect with many specialists in the downstream petroleum industry from all over the world. For registration, participation, opportunities for exhibition and sponsorship, kindly visit gipcon.com.
Hey, welcome back to work.
Charlie, thanks, bro. Thanks,
the
bro.
malaria really knocked you down, eh?
Charlie, no joke. Hey, fever, headache, vomiting, loss of appetite. I couldn't even eat my usual fufu.
You and fufu?
How we go do it?
I hope you got tested before the malaria treatment.
Oh, yes, I did. And thanks to Malatu, I kicked out malaria one time.
Sharp. Anyway, sorry to ruin your excitement, but your boss asked of you.
Okay.
She says she has plenty work for you.
No problem, Charlie. Strength day.
You see,
When malaria strikes, take Malatu, containing Artemether and lumefantrine. Comes in tablet and suspension for the effective treatment of malaria in adults and children. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Malatu is manufactured and distributed by Ernest Chemists Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Fortune rice, it needs just a little water. The greenstone stick and the aroma and taste are delicious. Fortune rice, always on point, just like mom.
Now introducing Fortune Emuka, your tasty Ghana rice for all your rice meals.
This advert is FDA approved.
Just like mom.
Super Morning Show on Joy, 9:06, and we've just experienced Smugglers Paradise. What sordid details, things that people are doing to our nation. We're going to talk in just a moment to a few people who perhaps can help us understand the situation and how we got here, how it got this bad so quickly. We'll be hearing from our guests who are Mr. Owusu-Aboagye. He's the Chief Revenue Officer at the Preventive Unit at Customs, and he's based in Tema. Benjamin Bekai is a Senior Revenue Officer of GRA Customs Division in charge of Customs Counterterrorism Unit. Joining us on the phone, Samuel Awonia Avaala, who is the president of the Oil Palm Development Association of Ghana, who are affected by the events described in this documentary. More from them in a moment. But first, bring your family and loved ones this and every Sunday to Oak Plaza Hotel Lucida Restaurant for the best Ghanaian buffet lunch in town. Complimentary local drinks, water, and entertainment are all available. Discounts are also available for group bookings. If you want to reserve, call 020-511-1235 or 0302-210-630. Oak Plaza Hotel, a good place for great food and memorable experiences.
And your car is your best friend, and best friends need more than just any other oil. With over 50 plus years expertise in lubricants technology and recommendations from renowned car manufacturers, Shell brings you world-class Shell Helix and Shell Remula lubricants. Our Shell Helix range, with its state-of-the-art gas-to-liquid technology, is the #1 engine oil that cleans your engine for better performance than conventional lubricants in the market. Engineered especially for heavy-duty engines, Shell Remula provides reliable and consistent protection against deposits and works hard to give you peace of mind to focus on your core job. Our oil specialist and lube bay mechanics are trained to understand your car and guide you the right way of maintenance. Make a stop at any Shell service station and let us help you choose the right motor oil from our complete range of products and benefit from our additional vehicle checks for free. Shell lubricants designed for ultimate engine performance.
All right, listen, let's get to it. Our guests are with us. Let's first say a quick good morning to Mr. Samuel Avaala on the phone.
Good morning to you all, and thank you for this opportunity.
Right. I didn't hear that.
Oh, he said good morning.
Oh, excellent.
And thanks for the opportunity.
Fantastic. It's our pleasure. In the studio, Mr. Owusu-Aboagye, Chief Revenue Officer, GRA Customs Division in charge of Preventive Unit in Tema, and Mr. Benjamin Bekai, Senior Revenue Officer, GRA Customs Division in charge of Customs Counterterrorism Unit. Gentlemen, good to see you both. Thank you for coming.
It's our pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Now, I'll start with you, Mr. Bekai. I wonder what your reaction is to this documentary and its revelations.
Right. So I would like to say a very good morning to our cherished listeners and viewers across the country, and also to say that we are very much glad and pleased to have this expose. Let me say it has come to us as a very good opportunity that we have to step up the operations that we have already instituted against smuggling activities at our borders. So we see this expose as a very fine opportunity for us to step up the already mechanisms and measures that we've put in place to clamp down on activities of smuggling.
To be fair, if what you were doing was working, this documentary would not exist. So what do you think is going wrong?
All right, so I would say that smuggling itself is a very complex phenomenon, and it so exists all over the world. Countries have been grappling with the phenomenon, so it is not that simple to say that our measures have not been working. Actually, we've also made substantial inroads in clamping down certain smuggling activities in the country. So, like I said, this has actually come to tell us that indeed we're doing our best, but we need to step up the operations in clamping down the activities.
Okay, we'll talk about how to step those operations up in a while. But Mr. Aboagye, one thing that was clear in the documentary is that officers who are supposed to specifically ensure that the state gets the right revenue for all these things coming in and regulate the amounts and everything and make sure that the state interest is covered at our borders. They are the ones who are being corrupted. I'm wondering how that's possible. What is it that makes it possible for your colleagues, as we heard in this documentary, to be corrupted like that?
Thank you very much. As already said by my colleague, and per your intro, you did mention that as far as smuggling is concerned, it is a complex and it is done by highly connected people. I must say that this expose has come at a time also to tell us who are in charge of revenue protection to be up and doing in our work. For instance, this expose has also shown the nature of some of these clandestine activities that they do. You know, in a country, there is this proverb that in every town there is a Mensa. Much as we appreciate what your good office and your team has done, there are situations that are very difficult to unravel if some of these things have not come up. Now it has shown us that if you are doing A, please up your game and do B in addition to the A that you are doing, because this expose has shown that there are some weak links among our rank and file, which should be handled with dispatch.
So you use a commonly used expression in every town, in every house there is a Mensa. What we see in this documentary is an entire network of Mensas in your organization. And my original question was, how is it possible for your colleagues to be corrupted? What is it that makes it possible for your colleagues to be corrupted?
I will not go 100% with you, because in your expose, I did hear that there are at certain places that even if they want to use, the people will arrest them. Made was mentioned at BBNE that if you use the BBNE barrier or checkpoint, they might arrest you, which means that all is not lost. Though we see them mentioning, but I should also be quick to say that yes, there are the bad nuts, but there are also the good and the professional ones within
Mr. Piabwachi, I wanted us to talk about a number of things today, but it seems we're a bit stuck on this particular point, because I mean it's quite obvious the documentary is not about those doing a good job. They are doing a good job. So imagine that we play this documentary and afterwards our entire conversation is about the great customs officers who are doing a good job. Do you think our audience will feel served by such a conversation? After this, should we really be praising the customs officers who are doing a good job? Is that what this documentary is exposing? Can we talk about what it is exposing? The people who are not doing a good job. And I want to know, they are your colleagues. What makes it possible for people who have had the same training as you, come through the same ranks as you have? What is it that makes it possible for them to be corrupted? Can we address that? I don't mind hearing from you.
All right, okay, thank you. I think that to a very large extent, we have acknowledged that the documentary is really helpful. It's going to help us to step up our operations. We do acknowledge that some of our colleagues really are not professional. That we do acknowledge, and I think that is why the adage came. Indeed, the focus of the documentary was on probably exposing the bad nuts, and that is why we are saying here that yes, measures are in place to check those bad nuts. But what makes it possible for them to be compromised? Coming to that question, we will say that, you see, the smuggling activity is a very complex one. And you even realize that the syndicates employ various strategies. You know, some of them are able to use the numerous unapproved border posts just because of the border porosity or the nature of our border porosity. Others are able to conceal their goods. I heard some mentioning charcoal trucks where they're able to conceal in VIP trucks and among other stuff. There are a few instances we believe some may bribe their way through and other things. But what we are saying is that we have to look at it holistically and address the situation as it is. As of now, what compromised them, we may not be able to speak to that immediately to say that this or that, but we are giving a general view that these are possibilities the smugglers may exploit to their advantage.
I just want to ask, are you familiar with the tricks that they use, for instance, hiding the oil in the charcoal and on buses that you will not suspect?
Yes, we are. I think that, like I said, they also use counterintelligence on us, the smuggling syndicate. So obviously, they will always think ahead of the customs officer. But there are instances where, out of curiosity, out of intelligence that we have gathered, we're able to uncover some of these things. And there are examples to show. I think last week, a cyanide was uncovered from a VIP bus around Tamale area there. And that tells you that, like my boss said, all is not lost. There are instances that we have made substantial arrests in such concealment.
You know, one of the maybe heartbreaking, maybe very unfortunate for a custom official to inform these smugglers of how they can outwit other custom officials.
That's correct.
Because, you know, this person, and this was a female custom officer speaking there, who said, well, listen, we know your language, but if you get to BBNE, for instance, you may find it very difficult. And she was suggesting ways that
to avoid
exactly.
You know,
how common are these persons, and how often do you fish them out from the system?
Okay, so I think that it is very rare, because you realize that it is not a common practice for a trained custom officer to lead a smuggler to outwit a fellow custom officer. It's not a common, it's out of the norm. So these are rare instances that I believe management will not take it kindly with such people at all. So we don't think it is the professional thing for an officer to be doing that. Yes.
If I may suggest something. As you heard in the documentary, Joy News had to spend about 800,000 cedis in order to launch this operation in a way that would put us in contact with those who are in a position to do this corrupt act. Okay, those of your colleagues who are in a position to do this corrupt act. We had to spend 800,000 cedis to do that. How many times do you think we were able to do that? Obviously, only once. So if we did something once, and on that one occasion, we encountered corruption, then it is easier to believe that it is widespread than to believe that it's a rare thing, and on our one attempt alone, we encountered corruption. It's more likely that the corruption happens often, which is why when we did it once, we encountered it. So my question is, what exactly has happened to those who were identified in this, and what has GRA done to ensure that it can't be done again?
All right, so I want to, first of all, applaud you for investing so much in such a documentary. But I think that it is also really to be a bit strange for you to conclude that just for the one documentary that you conducted, you're able to expose people. Then it means that it implies that it's a daily.
What I said is that it is easier to believe
that
it is widespread, which is why when we did it once, it happened.
You were able to.
It's easier to believe that than to say that this is a rare thing, and so when we did it, it's just by some chance that we encountered corrupt people. Do you understand?
I should think that before you embarked on this exercise, you might have gathered intelligence. It's not out of the blue that you just woke up and decided to embark on that exercise. Intelligence might have been gathered, or you might have been hinted by the local manufacturers or something that we have seen an influx of other type of oil on the market, which is negatively affecting our trade. So can you investigate, or we have gotten the lead that they are bringing it from other neighboring countries into the country? So can you help us do something? I don't think that if you had not gotten that intelligence, you will just get up to do this thing. But as said, we are saying that, yes, you have done a very good job, and we appreciate your efforts. But notwithstanding that, immediately this thing came to the attention of management, we have put in place measures. When I sit on radio to tell you that we've done A, B, C, it means that I'm exposing our own intelligence and what we have put on the ground. Yes. So when it came to the attention of management, I think proactive measures has been put in place to, as it were, assuage the situation, to bring the situation to the barest minimum as we all expect to happen.
So are you saying that the measures you've put in place will ensure that what we recorded cannot happen again?
Most definitely.
All right, we'll talk more about that.
That is our prayer. Anyway.
We'll talk more about that in a minute. Samuel Awonia-Avaala is the president of the Oil Palm Development Association of Ghana. Mr. Avaala, explain to us how the activities described in this documentary affect your sector and industry.
Customs officers who I can say they've been doing their best.
I'm so sorry. It seems our line is not the best. Let's see if we can reconnect with Mr. Avaala, get a clearer line so we can hear. Oh, hello, Mr. Avaala. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I do.
Good. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying that thank you very much for this opportunity and good morning to the customs officers. They have been our allies and they've been doing their best, as they said, and just that the best has not been good enough. Before I answer your question directly, let me just contribute to some of the discussing that has gone on earlier. The question of whether your one-off documentary can lead to the conclusion that this is a widespread, I think we should stop that debate. I have been in this oil palm value chain for 30 years. In fact, virtually all my career after university, from the plantation down to the refining and manufacturing, the entire value chain. It is something that has been there for a long time. So let's end that debate and see what we can do to solve the problem. It is conclusive enough that this is widespread year after year. We have engaged some of the authorities time without number, and sometimes some action is taken. And after the action is taken, after some time, it's like, these smugglers are, those behind them are powerful people and they bulldoze their way through to wherever. So that is how it is. And a one-time documentary like this, and then everybody tends to hide. After a few months, they will come back. If we don't find a more sustainable and permanent solution to this. And to add to what we can do, I believe that when tests like this have been done and people have been caught, the punishment must be hefty enough so that another person wanting to do it will think again. And so I disagree with my friend who says that, they won't come and sit on radio and tell all their strategy. That's fine. But we must also know, and the world must know, what kind of punishment and the disincentiveness that it presents to whoever may want to attempt it the next time. That one we have never seen, and I think that is why people continue. Whether it is the traders or those who actually involved in the smuggling or officers who connive and collude with them, we must see and hear. Just as the expose has shown us, the same thing must come out so that people know who are these people. Once they are exposed that way, I can also even say that will end the thing. But anybody wanting to go into this same venture will weigh the risk. And I believe that it will help to bring the thing to the minimum. Also, our borders are porous, and a very long one for that matter. You can't expect the customs officers to do one dogo line and stretch along the whole border. But they can always trace even from the market. You see goods being sold and you want to trace to how they entered this country. You will be able to drill down to whoever brought them, and then people will fear that, look, you can beat all the immigration, beat all the barriers, but in the market, you will be displaying it and people will be buying. And when the tracing is done from the market backwards, eventually whoever brought them in will be identified. So I think that they will have to do a lot more of strategic approach to this than a one-time knee jerk, and then we all go and sleep, and then the people are back. Now let me come to your question. how this affects our industry. In fact, I must say that it affects the very economy that supports all of us. The thing is, let me give you some data. Not very accurate, but you can say within 85% accuracy, the data I'm giving you is correct. From 2019 to 2021, we produced a little over 800,000 metric tons of palm oil in this country. And palm oil is not only the one we use for our okra stew and banku and kontomire. That is what we use in making soap in this country. The cooking oils, the margarines. That's what we use palm oil for in this country. And the soap and the cooking oil is the bulk of it. The one we put in our kontomire and things is very small. Okay? Now, so a little over 800,000 is what we have produced over 3 years. At the same time, what we have imported is a little over 1 million. So we are a net importer. And at the same time, we have also exported around 600,000. So it's in, out. And then when you check the net, we are a net importer. And that is why we are happy that there is now the Tree Cross Development Authority with the mandate to ensure that we develop some 6 tree crops, oil palm being one of them, so that at least we can become, we can reach import substitution level and even export to the rest of Africa where oil palm cannot be grown. So you see the thing. So if this policy is there and we are starting to develop the sector, investment is required. And remember, oil palm is long-term investment. And people who would invest see that others are dumping, they are dodging duty and bringing the oil from other countries and then going through these unapproved routes. They don't pay VAT, they don't pay the duty, and then they end up appearing to be cheaper than what we have produced locally. What will happen? Such investors, whether they are local or international, they won't invest in the oil palm sector. So we will remain dependent on imports. And what these imports do is that we take a lot of hard-earned dollars to go and import, pay for the imports. And some of these smugglers, they also mop up the dollars from the system to go and bring these oils. And yet, they are not paying their duties, they are not paying the VATs, they are not paying anything. And local industry, when it suffers, employment and jobs and the livelihoods of hundreds of thousands of smallholder and outgrower farmers, all is at stake. That is the magnitude of the effect of this on the economy and on the value chain and in fact on the future of the country. So I think that we have worked with customs to deal with this problem one time or another, but people move on, and new people come in. And it seems to be a problem that you cannot give a one-time or one-off solution to. There must be constant surveillance and collaboration between us industry players, the customs, the trade industry, and all the security agencies.
Yeah, indeed. Mr. Avaala, I want to thank you for that point. Very important and revealing answer to our question there. Clearly, this means that this conversation has to continue. We are running out of time, though, so I'm going to do something very quickly with the two of you in the studio. We've got very limited time left, but I have about 4 or 5 questions that either have like a yes or no answer, or you have to give me some data or information. If you don't have it, it's okay to say we don't have that with us. That's okay. Okay, but I must ask these questions. First of all, we always hear about unapproved routes. By your estimation, because of the roles you both play, how many unapproved routes have we identified to date? How many new routes do you identify every year?
All right, so thank you. As you said, it will be very difficult to tell you the exact number of unapproved routes.
Estimated?
Yeah, but it's even still not easy to estimate. They are being created every now and then, so it will be very misleading to give any specific number.
Now, the documentary estimated a certain value that we are losing about 300 million cedis to these. Is it 30 million or 300 million cedis to this practice? Let me get the exact figure because it's right here. 300 million cedis every year to this practice. Is that close to customs' own estimation of how much we are losing to smuggling of palm oil, to cooking oil?
Okay, so Kwetey clarify. So this is 300 million in revenue. If the smugglers and dealers are bringing in like 5,000 metric tons.
That's why I want clarification from the team. What's your estimate?
So, well, I think this estimate, maybe you have to tell us how you came by these figures.
Yeah, he's explained. He used the basis of about 5,000 barrels coming in per year. And right? 5,000 metric tons.
Are we saying that all these 5,000 metric tons are smuggled?
He's assuming that it will
be
so
very
what is your figure? Help us out.
We will not, if you have not been able to arrest a particular consignment, you cannot add a value or put a value on it and say that this has been smuggled into the country.
So GRA Customs does not have an estimated value of how much we are losing to smuggling of cooking oil from Togo and Ivory Coast.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, that it will be very difficult to estimate a smuggled value when you have not arrested the thing.
Understood.
On hand, yeah.
Police has PIPs. Does GRA have Customs have a similar unit that investigates?
Precisely. We have the Internal Affairs Department that is under the Good Governance Department, headed by a Deputy Commissioner. And they, as we speak, this matter is before them, and they've begun investigations into it. We can assure you, just like what Mr. Avaala said, you see, we have disciplinary measures in place. Good. And Customs is one of the institutions that disciplines our officers more, except that we don't come on air to say that we've interdicted so much officers.
So tell us, how many have you interdicted over the past few years?
There has been an instance where over 300 custom officers were interdicted before. You understand me? So year on year, we do discipline officers. We have administrative mechanisms that deal with officers who behave unprofessionally.
How about smugglers? How many have you prosecuted?
Smugglers, we fortunately, I think there is a court that has been dedicated for tax offenses, and I can assure you that we've set up a prosecution department that is in charge of these offenses. When we arrest them, they prosecute them. Unless we get in touch with them, we'll not be able to tell the exact number of prosecution cases they've had over the period. Yes.
Okay. You also go into the markets. You seize products that have been smuggled from the markets, right? Can you give us an estimated value for last year? How value of products seized on the markets because they were smuggled?
Item that has gone into the market and it has been seized. That one we don't have the statistics.
You don't have that. Okay. All right. Okay. Again, how about prosecution? When you seize things in the market, do you prosecute? Do you go further and prosecute those you find?
To what my brother just said, we have set up a prosecutional unit that you see. Either to what was happening is that customs were more concerned about our duties. So when we arrest smugglers or we arrest smuggled items, our focus on the collection of our revenues. When we are able to redeem our revenues, the penalties thereof, they pay the penalties thereof, then they are set loose. But this time, the prosecution unit has come in that when we arrest you, after we have taken our duty and you have paid the penalties thereof, we'll still go ahead and prosecute you.
Right.
So it's an innovation that has come up, and I think if we all help, it will help bringing down some of these nuisances that we see in the system.
Yeah, so I want to say that I want to appeal to the general public that, you see, whenever they have information, they shouldn't hesitate to give us the information. We have handsome award system for informants that will help us to clamp down on some of these operations, because smuggling itself, apart from the economic effect, also has effect on security. My outfit is a counter-terrorism unit, and our focus is also to interdict people from smuggling weapons and other stuff to come and destabilize the nation. So in as much as we are also concerned about the economic impact, we are also much aware of the security impact and want to encourage all stakeholders to put hands on
they will be encouraged if they see that what they report results in action.
Yeah,
so
sure.
What's going to happen, or what has happened to those who were identified in this documentary?
Yeah, like I said, currently it's before the Internal Affairs Department who are investigating them. So Definitely.
I want to say a big thank you to Ernest Apiabuachi, Chief Revenue Officer, GRA Customs Division, in charge of Preventive Unit in Tema, and Benjamin Bekai, Senior Revenue Officer, GRA Customs Division, in charge of Customs Counter-Terrorism Unit. Also, Samuel Avaala, who is the President of the Oil Palm Development Association of Ghana. Thank you all for your time with us this morning. More on the Super Morning Show.
Thank you.